Sports, who represent Von Miller. And I saw somebody in here say Von Miller hasn't had a sack since 2021. Untrue. He had 6.5 last year with Buffalo. Made $17.5 million too a year ago. The price would be $6.5 million for a guy who's going to Canton, who played for Vic in Denver. How do you feel about your edge rush room? Let's bring our friend in from Fox 29 in Philadelphia. Eagles are going through OTAs today, tomorrow.
Yep. Tomorrow, yep.
JAKIB, how you doing, brother?
Good. Doing well. Yeah, they're working out today. They're going to be open tomorrow, so they let the media in there, so we're able to get a look at what they're doing. But it's not all that much that they're doing in there. But you get a chance to look at the young guys, to see who's picking up the system and who's struggling a bit, So you get a chance to see that.
Don't you agree, Garry, though? Eyeballs aren't going to be on the offensive guys. There's a guard position and some backup roles and a swing tackle, maybe a backup center. Who's going to back up whether A.J. Dillon is going to be healthy or not? There's very limited positions on the offensive side. On the defensive side, I would think there's going to be more eyeballs. And you know this as well as anybody. I tell people this about OTAs. Well, if they're filming you, you better not put bad play on film because there's 90 guys in camp. Garry, you know this as well as anybody. Being a late round guy, you didn't put much bad tape on because you wouldn't have been in the league if you had bad tape.
That's right.
So, there's more eyeballs on that defense, right?
Without a doubt. And they're looking for guys that jump at them, They want to look at and see with some of the guys flying off that corner, on their pass rush, the explosiveness, to see guys in the secondary breaking on the ball, the guys that seem to always be in the right place, who's picking up things, and you could see that with the safeties, especially because one thing that Vic is not interested in, he is not interested in giving up big plays. If you want to get out of town, just give up a few big plays, and Vic will make sure that you leave out in first class. See ya, So those guys got to be looking for that, and because you can see he's looking for it right away. And they've got young kids. There's gonna be some young people out there in the secondary, especially at the safety position, because they really the guys going that are battling, are both young. The kid that they drafted in the second round and
Andrew
Brown, and Brown, both of them, they're young players, So to see what they're going to do, and you can see that they've got skills, but the big thing is they got to understand the defense. They've got to understand these quarterbacks, and they can't be out there. They got to have the ability to make tackles, out in the open space. They're going to get a chance to do that, and they can't be giving up big plays. That's the thing.
Garry, why didn't Bryce Huff work in Philadelphia, in your opinion?
Well, I thought he came in and he just seemed like he's trying to do too much too fast. He really wasn't. It just seemed like he really kind of got in his head. He got in, struggled a little bit. And in Philly, you got to have some tough skin, man. You can't start panicking because people start talking at you, and you're gonna hear it, and then you're gonna hear you turn on the radio. The guys are getting personal. They start talking about everything about you and stuff. So it seemed like he couldn't deal with that. And I didn't see the response to where it seemed like he got behind and never really got comfortable here. And after that point, they kind of given up on him, and they said, "Wait a minute. Well, maybe you can help us next year." Once they put him on the shelf, then the other guys started showing them something. But early in the season, and in fairness to him, the entire defense was playing poor in the first half of the season.
Yeah.
See? So I think he just that didn't help him. I think he kind of got caught in that, where he was there and he was out there when the rest of the guys weren't doing a good job either. So he kind of got swept up in that, and after the first third of the season, Then they start putting in guys and moving guys around, and he got caught out there at the wrong time. So,
do you think the Eagles right now are better or worse without him?
Well,
because you really don't know what you have yet.
That's right.
With JAKIB Hunt. I mean,
you're right.
I don't really know. And Garry, can you please tell these folks here? For me, a player like you with a 10-year career plus, I look at it and go like this: you're never going to be your best year, and you're never going to be your crappiest year. You're going to be somewhere in the middle in there, but you're going to look at consistency on what a guy is and who he is and what he does on a year-to-year basis. When I see JAKIB Hunt and I see Nolan Smith, I don't know what these guys are yet. I mean, I don't know, because I see a half a year and I see some spotty good play. That's all I see. Am I wrong to look at it like that?
Well, yeah, right now you can look at it that way. Now, the thing that they look at is they say, okay, these guys came on during the playoffs.
Yes.
Both of them played very well in the playoffs.
Yep.
And they look at that and say, well, we were playing the best competition then, see?
Yep.
And, I think, you look at Washington, though. Come on. Washington was not the best competition. Their offensive line, no. They were not the top shelf. Now, you start talking about the Rams. Rams are a pretty good team. And then, you play against the Kansas City in the Super Bowl, and you look back and you realize they got rid of a lot of those guys.
The Rams gave him a better game than Kansas City did.
That's right. Rams gave him a better game than Kansas City. And the Commanders did not have a good offensive line. Come on, that's the place they tried to strengthen. So we could sit back and say, so you had a good game against Washington. They didn't have a good offensive line. And you had a good game against Kansas City. They didn't have a good offensive line. But against the Rams, the guy that we had that shined was a guy that we know can play, which is Jalen Carter.
Yeah.
He's the one who took over the game and said, okay, this game is over. I'm taking this thing over. The last 3 plays, which the game came down to, he decided the game.
He did.
So if we look at that, we might need to, we might need to slow down about making our, getting all of excited about these guys, because they were not beating the best people. But I'm interested in seeing. I really think Nolan Smith, though, I think he showed for the second half of the season. He showed a lot with his explosiveness coming around the corner. I like the way he played against tackles, even standing them up on the run and things. So I like what I've seen of him. But JAKIB Hunt, we just seen a little bit of him. So I think we got to wait and we got to see what we got there,
Absolutely.
Because we've only had a peek at him,
How about this, Garry? You tell me what group you feel more concerned about here or better with.
Yeah.
Eagles, the defensive front, Will linebacker, these are your edge guys, Nolan Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Your left end is Moro Jomo. Your nose tackle is Jordan Davis. Your right defensive end is Jalen Carter. And your strong side linebacker, outside edge, is Azeez Ojulari and JAKIB Hunt. Now, your secondary is Q, Reed. You got a rookie in Makuba. Keely Ringo and Adoree Jackson, I guess, are going to play the opposing corner and battle for that. And then you got Cooper. Which group are you more concerned with? The secondary group or the front six? Front 5.
Boy, that's I'm not convinced, about either one. Where I'm just totally
look at these names.
Which is the
that secondary sounds spotty to me.
Well, they're going to need some people to show up, but I think that we'll see. But the way Vic plays is Vic is not got the guys playing man to man all the time. And, he's not sitting in, where he's blitzing all the time and things like that. He's dependent on those guys to get to the quarterback. And a lot of times he's playing 2 deep shells, see? So he's not as vulnerable to big plays. But what he does need is he needs a line that can get pressure on the quarterback without blitzing all the time, see? And that's where the pressure is on that defensive line. can they get pressure on the quarterback without blitzing a lot? You know, that's what they've got to do. And, you know, I think that they might try to acquire somebody late too, because, you know, they really just took James Bradbury and Darius Slay, you know, at the beginning of June is when, you know,
that money falls off the books.
So that money falls off there, and it gives them some money they could use between now and, you know, training camp. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see them grab a veteran pass rusher, somebody who's got, you know, that a name and has done it before.
Would you sign Clowney? Would you sign a guy like Clowney?
I would definitely consider it. You better believe I would consider something like that. And that's exactly the kind of guy I would want, which is somebody who's a veteran, who's done it before, who basically, this is what we're asking you to do. We need some pass rush out of you. We don't need you to play all the time. We don't need you to play, you know, all the plays. But these big plays, we need about 5 or 6 outstanding pass rushes from you every week. And you're going to be single blocked. You're not going to be doubled. You know, we got other people they're going to try to stop. So can we get that? I think they would be look at some veterans. And who knows, they might be able to work out something where they even go after somebody with even a bigger name. But that we'll have to wait and see. But I wouldn't be surprised. What's that?
Von Miller?
Yeah, I think that is. I think he's probably the kind of guy that, like I said, veteran.
You don't think, Gary, it's going to be a $30 million move where you see Trey Hendrickson or something like?
No, I don't.
TJ Watt's out there because here's what we were told, that TJ Watt's got a contract on the table with the Steelers. Well, as you know, if contract's on the table and the player and the agent aren't looking at it, that means the Steelers have a deal on the table, and there ain't no deal on the table yet.
You know,
until both sides take the contract up.
I mean, that, you know, that's a dream. You know, I would like to see that dream come true. Of course, you love to have that, but whew, I tell you that, boy, something like that happened, boy. You talking about excitement,
man?
Whew.
Hey,
oh my goodness, are you
TJ Watt and
are you kidding me?
Carter?
Oh my goodness!
Can you, hey Gary? How about this? Here. Let me just replace it here. Nolan Smith, Moro Jomo, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, and T.J. Watt would be your front five.
Come on.
You know what they would do? They would somebody in the NFL would arrest Howie.
They say he's got to be paying people somewhere. He's slipping guys dollars. You know, somewhere.
Hey, they would arrest him.
Oh, that would
be something like that.
Most definitely. Oh, that would be. Oh man. But I tell you what, if it were to happen, man, I tell you what. Woo. Man, now that don't even, you can't even. What he say? Hey, slap. So come out of it. Wake up.
Hey, couple last ones here for you. One thing on the offensive side, do you think? And Kevin Petula said today that, you know, Saquon Barkley looks just absolutely insane. He's on the cover of Madden and all that. A lot of great accolades for him. That's really cool. Got a 99 rating. Yep. That's spectacular, the whole deal. But to you, right, this has got to be time of possession again, just so you can get that young defense a chance to get its feet wet and a chance to really get on the football field for them to be able to find out what they got. Because what you don't want to do, right, is put that defense in bad field position. Correct. We end up finding out what they really are.
Yeah, and you don't want to be playing from behind. You know, you would like to be playing with the lead. You know, that's what you want to be able to help your defense. But at the start of the season, without a doubt, you're going to be leaning on your offense. You got all these weapons. You know, you got all these people. I mean, you can remind people, hey, look, we're not paying you guys, you know, to go out there and play around. We want to go out and jump on people and really make it easier for the defense and let them kind of grow up, you know, as they're coming together. And that's really the way they're thinking, I think, because they got young players, and I think they got confidence that Vic can have these guys playing you know, before too long. But they're clearly going to be leaning on the offense start this season. You got all these guys with all that talent on the offense, and that's who's making all the money. They can remind the guys, hey, look, you know what? They might be making what, 100 and whatever million on the offensive side of the ball, and they're making 40 million on the defensive side. I mean, come on. So they expect them to show it, though. They expect them to show it, and that's what's going to be interesting, especially with a tough schedule. That offense has got to get ready to go. They got to start out strong, man. The offense got to start out strong in this season, and clearly there are going to be a lot of people looking. Of course, everybody has circled the Eagles on their schedule. All these teams want a piece of the Eagles, and I think they'll be ready for it.
Last one here for you, Grandpa Babysitter. I love it, and I love it. I always will. Right. But here, this is going to become a problem here, because when you hear this, Andrew Brandt, as you know, you and I know Andrew Brandt, former general manager of the Packers. He's in media now. So he put this out here. The NFL commissioner, Roger Goodell, believes this. There is widespread speculation and concern within the league that the Eagles use the void years and cash over cap strategies to manipulate their salary cap. These strategies allow the Eagles to temporarily reduce their current cap burden by pushing extensive and expenses into future years, giving them a competitive edge. So Howie's found the loophole like he's Trump, and he goes out there. And he's not. Hey, look, you and me are like, give me the money up front. I don't care.
That's right.
I don't want nothing promised. I'd like it.
But the players don't have any problem with that,
No, I said that too. I go.
That's right. And the rest of the league, they need to get a pacifier. Okay, they need to go get a pacifier. All this crying, they have the same rules. Okay, you're not utilizing the rules properly, and maybe your owner is too cheap to do this. Because there's a lot of money out of the owner's pocket. Come on, that's got to be willing to. He got to have confidence in the guy that's doing this, because you could have a guy out there just wasting a lot of money. See, so say what you want. Outperform the Eagles. You know what I'm saying? Stop crying and outperform them. Come on. And the GMs, go get a pacifier. Come on, man. Hey, where you want to get us? We're gonna get a diaper too for you,
dude.
I guess for these guys. Come on, that's enough of the crying, man.
Hey, so
same rules for everybody.
Teams like the Raiders, the Jets, and now everyone is starting to complain that Howie's using your own system that they implemented. Remember that Gene Upshaw, you ripped that CBA up. You wanted to redo it. Howie found that he does this. This is what he's doing, Gary. He's giving you more money. When there's 2 years remaining, he adds 2 more years. You created that. Come on. You created that template.
Yes. And he's utilizing the system to his advantage. Come on. Do they do that during the game? Where you guys going, oh, man. Oh, it seems like, you guys, you went through the whole thing with the fourth down play, oh boy, these guys are using that fourth down play and we can't stop it. So we want to make it elite. You know what? These guys need to get these diapers. I mean, it's ridiculous, man. Get a diaper and a pat on their head, man. Come on, stop crying. Man. They need to stop all the crying, man. I'm telling you.
They're beating them on the field and they're beating them at the contract table.
That's right.
That's what teams aren't liking what's going on. Cobb,
and you know what? And you know what the Eagles say? I got to give them that this fits. Hey, you don't like us. Hey, we don't care. You know what I mean? Because they got the ring, right? They got the ring. So, hey, stop all the crying. They need to stop all that crying.
I think this is more of a shot at Jeffrey Lurie, because Jeffrey Lurie's got a guy, and Jeffrey Lurie is doing this. Because remember what they did, Gary, in Cleveland, when the Browns gave Deshaun Watson that guaranteed contract, everyone bitched.
You're right.
Now that Lurie is giving the money up front instead of back-ending the deals, he's front-ending them, which means the cap's lower at the back end. Players don't give a shit about the back end of their deal.
That's right.
They care about the front end of the deal.
They want their money. The guys want their money. But, but some of the guys, like I said, enough of the crying. It's the same rules for everybody. I mean, some of these guys, they need to get them right in front of a camera and just, and and treat them like babies, because that's what we got, a bunch of old babies in the league. You know what I mean? And if you can't stay up with it, then get out of the league, right? If you can't stay up with it, then just, retire, get lost. The league is gone by you, then just get lost. Maybe that's what they need.
JAKIB, as always, you'll be out there at OTAs tomorrow, I believe.
Yep.
And then also on Wednesday, make sure you check him out on Fox 29. My friend, thank you so much always, man. Thank you.
Have a good one. All right.
Make sure you check him out too at Fox 29 in Philadelphia. Please hit the like button here. Dude, this is like the tax code. Like when Trump was talking to Hillary, when they were doing that debate. Hey, you don't like it? Change it. But you won't. The difference here is that the owners want to now. Because the Philadelphia Eagles are beating them in the boardroom, and now they're beating them on the gridiron. And what matters more to the owners is what? The money. I just got through telling Xander. It's funny. I know a lot of people don't know this, which is cool. But if you're 16-0 or you're 0-16, every team makes the same money. Now, some teams are going to make more based on attendances, how much merch you sell. But remember, those NFL property deals, 28 of the teams have the same contract with the other 28 teams. You make the same amount of money. This is not Major League Baseball where the Yankees, the Phillies, the Mets have these big-time TV networks like Comcast and SNY and the Yes Network, where those teams out-revenue teams like the Reds or the Twins. Baseball's set up differently. That's why they implemented a luxury tax. Not everything's the same. Okay? That's why the NFL is king. Here's Bob Brown here. Steele's the only thing the league can do to compensate for the increasing TV revenue is adding games. That's correct. That's right. Adding games to the season to create more eyeballs. And that's why they don't want to drop another bye weekend. The players will make less per game until the CBA is redone. Remember something. Here's the problem that the owners are having now. The sport is growing. The salaries are growing. But you're playing marginal. Here, if you were going to pay the best players in the game at their sport, let's do the quarterbacks here for a second. Okay? Let's do the quarterbacks. Highest paid QBs in the NFL. Okay? Let's go. Highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL. Dak Prescott. There it is. Average per year. 60. Let's just do the eyeball test and go to Bob Brown here. Dak Prescott, based on what he's done, who he is. Dak Prescott, to me, I wouldn't mind paying him $35 million. Face of the Cowboys, 60? Highest paid player in the league? For what? He's done the least in the league. When you start putting salaries like that on and your value to your team, you mean to tell me you think Dak Prescott's a $60 million value to your team? You won 7 games last year. How is 60 million? So you're telling me that how many games did Dak, Bob, how many games a year ago did Dak play last year? And don't forget the signing bonus you gave. Would you give him $100 million last year? Right? Here, let's go down the list. Let's go down this list here. Over the cap. Let's see here. Here. Okay. Joe Burrow, $55 million. I'd pay Joe that. I'm all right with that. Josh Allen. I'm okay with Josh Allen, $55 million. Jordan Love, $55 million? Are you drunk? I'm not paying him that. $55 million for that. Absolutely no way. That guy's a $25 million a year guy. Trevor Lawrence, $55 million? Why am I paying Trevor Lawrence $55 million? Trevor Lawrence is a $25 million a year guy. Okay? Who else? Tagovailoa? He's a bag of Skittles away from being retired. 53? I'll pay him 30. Jared Goff is not a $50 million a year player. Brock Purdy's not a $50 million a year player. Lamar is. Jalen Hurts is a $50 million a year player. Kyler Murray's not. Deshaun Watson's not. Watch this. Dak's not. Love's not. Lawrence is not. Tua's not. Goff's not. Purdy's not. Murray's not. Watson's not. These are 9 of the top 12 quarterbacks in pro football today. Those are your highest paid guys. What am I getting on my return on investment? The sport and the business model is growing. You're not returning the investment, though. That's what the owners are looking at. Players Association is looking at it like this. So who's the next big guy when it comes to his contracts being up? Who's the next big guy? Probably C.J. Stroud. Stroud's going to make a ton of money because he's good. And I'm paying him probably north of $60 million. But almost every single one of those guys, and the owners are looking at it like this. And that's just quarterbacks. Xander's right. Bryce Huff got $18 million. Howie gave that guy $18 million for a 1-year sack season. But because the market and the position and the salaries have gone up so much, owners are going like this. Wait a minute. We got to put a cap. You know, it's something that the NHL has. They have a floor and they have a ceiling on what a player can make. And in my opinion, I think they got to get away from doing this. And you tell me, they got to get away from the cap going up. And I think it's got to be by, hey, Yale, follow me here, Yale. To me, it's more going to be this way here. Okay? It's going to be more like this. NFL quarterbacks are going to have a percentage on what's going to go up and what's going to go down. And you're going to do that by position. You can no longer just raise the salary cap because the salary cap going up, that's not going to help. So if you do this, well, defensive linemen are going to go up this amount, and this is the number that they're going to only land on. Jalen Carter is not going to make $40 million. He's going to go up 3 percentage points of what the next closest guy got from a year ago. That's how they're going to start controlling the salaries. They're going to control it that way because that's the only way they can. Having the cap go up to $300 million, that's not helping the owners. Cap will eventually have to stop increasing. It can't increase infinitely. It can't. That's not a sustainable thing. Like, you feel me, Yale? Instead of the guys going and saying, well, I'll pay him $60 million or I'll pay this guy $53 million. Have a floor. Can't go lower than 51. Can't go higher than 60. And stay in that room. And that fluctuates back and forth. Okay? That's the only way that they're going to start controlling these salaries because, again, this is getting out of hand. And I do not believe that in 3 years, maybe even in 18 months, that this is not going to be not addressed. All right, guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button here. Think about it, Pat. The players are not paid on you going to the games. They're paid